Hey, it's Nancy Lynn from Confessions of a Fit Foodie, and today I'm going to show you how to make the easiest and most delicious fresh tomato sauce right in your Instant Pot. The best part about this recipe is you don't need to parboil the tomatoes, you don't need to peel them, you don't need to worry about seeds. Everything goes in and will get blended thanks to the magic of the Instant Pot. We always have a garden every year, and I end up with tons of tomatoes at the end of the summer. And a couple years ago, I wanted to make fresh tomato sauce, and my mom started to explain the process, and she got to like step 3 with some sort of mill, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna throw them in the Instant Pot and see what happens. And it came out so good. Now this is the only way we make fresh tomato sauce. So let's get started. The first thing we want to do is just set your Instant Pot to saute. And if you've watched my other videos, you know when you set it to saute, you want it to read hot before you actually do any sauteing. All right, and while my Instant Pot's heating, let's just talk quickly about what kind of tomatoes work best for this recipe. First, I will say anything goes. I have thrown any type of tomato that I can find in my garden or at the farm stands, and it always works. Roma tomatoes and San Marzano tomatoes that don't have a lot of seeds, they work really well, but honestly, anything goes, including like cherry or grape tomatoes, and your big, just regular, these are Lancaster tomatoes that I found at the farm stand because it's a little early in the summer that I'm making this right now, but really whatever you end up with, we're gonna throw in. So before we get to the cutting the tomatoes, because you barely even need to chop them, let's get our Instant Pot going with our onions and our garlic. Olive oil is in. If you are oil-free, you can definitely skip this part. And now I'm gonna put, this is a half of a yellow onion chopped. See, nice and hot. My onions are not gonna stick because my Instant Pot has already preheated on saute. Okay, next we're gonna add in garlic. This is 4 cloves of garlic. If you love garlic, you could totally add more. Add them in. Okay, and then I'm gonna show you a little trick. I'm actually gonna remove this while I talk to you. If you're ever not prepared with the rest of your ingredients when you're cooking in the Instant Pot, you could always pull this liner out and stick it aside, and this way you won't burn the rest of your ingredients. Just wanna talk to you about how I prep these tomatoes. All you really need to do is rough chop them. So big, quartered tomatoes is all you need to do. And you want about 6 cups of tomatoes. These little guys, I don't even cut them. Perfect. And now they're ready to go. So this guy I'm gonna pop back in and add in my tomatoes. And now, my secret ingredient, you're gonna throw a carrot in. Carrot is really good for just pulling some of the acidity out of tomatoes, and in tomato sauce, it adds a touch of sweetness, but you're not adding any actual sweetener. Okay, and now we're gonna season it. Sprinkle some salt. You can add more later after we taste the sauce. Some pepper. Okay, and this is actually good now and ready to cook. Okay, so now I'm gonna switch it from saute to pressure cook by turning it off, pressure cook on, and we wanna pressure cook this for 20 minutes. And make sure your knob is set to sealing and just let the Instant Pot do its magic. Okay, so my sauce has cooked. It cooked for 20 minutes, and then I let the pressure naturally release. You can quick release it after 10 minutes if you want, but it's fine to just let it sit for as long as you need it to. I also took the lid off and I let it cool a bit. When you first take the lid off, even after that natural release, it's gonna be pretty steamy. And the next step is gonna be the blend. And I definitely don't recommend blending very hot sauce. So let it cool, and then when you're ready, you can blend using an immersion blender, which I highly recommend. If you don't have one, this kitchen tool is great for soups and for sauces. If you have a regular blender, you can use it, but again, make sure it's really cooled down if you're gonna go that route. All right, to thicken my sauce, I'm gonna add some tomato paste. And for each pot of sauce, I do about a can. So you could double this recipe. Start with 1 can of tomato paste, but have a second can handy. This is what's gonna thicken it, and it's gonna give it some extra flavor. Okay, now we're ready to blend. I'm gonna be adding fresh basil, but I'm not gonna put it in just yet. My kids like to pick the basil out. So if you put the basil in now or chop it up and put it in now, you're gonna get like green flecks through the sauce, which for me would be no problem, but again, my kids are picky, so I'm doing it that way. But you have the option. I'm gonna put my immersion blender in, and I'm gonna turn it on low. There's 2 settings. I'm gonna do low so it doesn't go everywhere. Yeah, definitely. Okay, so I think we're good. You wanna just make sure, first of all, this is why I'm wearing black right now. If you wear something old, because it does splatter when you use the immersion blender a little bit, or throw an apron on, but you wanna make sure you don't see any chunks of the tomato skin or any big chunks of the carrot or tomato remaining. So take a minute to kind of look through. What's nice too is the onions and the garlic also get blended up. So again, if you have picky kids, this sauce is really nice and smooth. Actually, my daughter likes to eat it like tomato soup. We just thin it down with a little broth, and she eats it with a spoon right out of the pot. Okay, so now let's add some basil. Just gonna quickly chop some up and add it in. And I'm gonna give it a little stir to incorporate the basil and feel around. It really feels nice and smooth and ready to go. Oh my gosh, it's perfect. It doesn't need any more seasonings. You could always up the salt or pepper at this point, add in some more basil, but I think it came out delicious. So we love this sauce on anything. Zoodles, pasta, you could use it in your lasagnas. This is also really great to make for your freezer. I use my super cubes and I freeze big portions of this sauce so that I can have fresh tomato sauce even when it's not summer. And time to dig in. It's so good, it's so fresh. And again, it's the easiest fresh tomato sauce you'll ever make. So don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and let me know in the comments what other types of recipes do you want to see this summer. Thanks for watching.